mystical realms, astral planes, higher dimensions, beyond states, out of body experiences, and so on. I'm sure seekers always are looking forward for mysterious things. And this is something that is very much there in the human DNA. We're always here seeking for more, or something that has never been shared to anybody, or maybe very less people know about it. Mystery schools. This is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Let's get in and be prepared to know certain things that you may have not known before. Looking forward for the video ahead. Hi everybody, welcome back to Tranquility Echoes. My name is Nikki, and welcome back to this another episode, coming back with more knowledge and things that you would not really find on internet. I have really opened up this particular channel just to give more information that I myself have been seeking for quite some time, and have been finding it really hard to engage into information that we normally would not receive on internet, or sometimes even looking for other books. But let's just move forward with this particular topic. I'm sure you know this topic already by now. Yes, it's all about mystery schools. What are mystery schools, and is it that something that we know about it already, or we have an understanding about it, or some information has been given, especially the word forbidden knowledge or aspect of a cult? These are something that we always have an understanding that we would like to go into, move into, do things, so on and so forth. Okay, but not a lot of people are sure whether these are knowledge that is it really even real, or does these things even exist? I'm sure that you all have got into some sort of knowledge that people say that it's not there out there. Okay, and you may have definitely got into certain people who've been talking about the mystery schools, especially my mentor Dolores Cannon, who has written a book regarding Jesus, and how he was part of a mystery school that he was part of. So let's dive and go deep into this space, and let's just talk more on this particular space known as mystery schools. Do they even exist? Are they even real? And what is the way to enroll into these schools? Have you been meditating, and have you had this experience where you felt you may have gone through a library, or you woke up from a dream where you felt like you received a lot of knowledge, or you went where you were being shown something, or you've been given something? Now, I'm giving this context in the start just because this will help you understand things better. And for the ones who've never kind of gone through any of this, then you stay with me, and I will give you a lot of examples, and obviously giving you something that I have myself gone through places, and we've remote viewed things as well. So it is quite understood that, there are places which we call the mystery schools. Now, where does the mystery schools really come from? And, what is the context behind it? Like, how did it all happen? Now, just to give you an understanding in a very short way, to give more understanding, I think, I will create another video, which is to do with the yugas, or the ages, which you call the cosmic wheel. And in the cosmic wheel, there are these 4 stages, or rather four yugas, or 4 ages. And in that, how the first one was so amplified with higher consciousness, and we are in the 4th at the moment, okay, which called the Kali Yuga, which I keep on talking quite a lot about this, because it's very important that why we are in that state of consciousness, just to understand this. So the golden age, or the Satyug, that was the time when a lot of knowledge was openly distributed to everybody. There wasn't any aspect of mystery as such. The reason behind it is there was telepathy, there was telekinesis, there was all these kind of amazing things that, people did. And we think that they are amazing, okay, just because we've lost that knowledge and we've come to that space that you don't know anything about this. And at that time, those were just a normal thing, just like how we breathe, eat, walk, think, that was the exact thing that it was for them. How did things change, and how did these things turn into mystery schools? Well, just like the knowledge that we have received, things like meditation, things like going deep into deeper states, aspect of astral traveling, realms, dimensions, all sorts of things of that kind, they are higher knowledge. And, when you're in the physical realm, getting into that state becomes harder, because then you are only working with this physicality of yours. Okay, so that's one of the major things that we feel like we find it hard to even kind of think that this is real or this even exists. Definitely not for those people who look for proof, because you cannot show physical proof in a space when we're talking about different dimensions, because that proof has nothing to do with this dimension over here. So people would not really understand this completely. So when we talk about the mystery schools, these are just knowledge that is being shared by higher beings that came into this earth form and help the human beings evolve and give them understanding about life. So when we talk about higher masters, when you talk about Jesus, when you talk about Gautam Buddha, when you talk about higher deities, it could also be the Greek gods or the Indian gods and goddesses. We can also talk about the Egypt god and the goddesses. You can talk about all of them. Some definitely are demigods, and some are higher beings coming into the space and helping us evolve into our states. So this knowledge was easily available for absolutely everybody at one point. But as we started slowly coming down into our conscious levels, which is again the cosmic age that I talk about, which is the yugas, it's a very controversial space over here. But the reality is, there were a group of people utilizing this for control and being more in power. So that means, again, there were schools that was being then divided into light and dark. And, who will learn the same things and utilize it for the betterment of this world, okay? Or who will use this for themselves for selfish reasons. So that's where, this knowledge was getting scarce and was being hidden. Coming back to ancient civilization. And Egypt would be one of those places that I can definitely vouch and tell this more because of remote viewing aspects that we have done. My projects with teams, we have done a lot of work, and we found out that in Egypt, all the great pyramids that you would know, and just not pyramids, even temples, by the way, okay, there were always something in the underground. You would go now to these particular areas and you will see that you would not have permission to go underground, or they will say there is nothing underground. But to be honest, there is a lot that was found underground, and usually these mystery schools took place around in the underground areas. What really happened after that? Well, moving on. These were the areas where the higher, amazing, beautiful, lovely beings would come down onto earth planes, which, you could also use the word ETs or aliens or other constellations, different dimensions, different timelines, travelers who knew, or they were being given some sort of information that they have to evolve the beings over here. And they would come here and basically share the knowledge. In Egypt, for sure, there was this whole aspect of Pleiades and Arcturians and even Syrians. They were full on over here in order to give us information. No wonder we have humanoid, or when we see the demigods, they are half human, half, animal or bird. So this aspect comes from there, and they were great masters, great knowledge givers, where they would move into, or rather teachers, they would move into spaces to help evolve people. Similarly, you would go back into Tibetan times, or you could go back to the Buddhist monks, or go back to places where when we go to India. Okay, these knowledge that was so amazing, where they knew that if gone into wrong hands, especially as the consciousness was decreasing and descending, people would utilize it for wrong ways, hence turned more as mysteries. So mystery schools now, what is happening at this point in time, and how's the way we can enroll into these mystery schools? First of all, let's put it out there. Souls have coding. Every soul has a certain code that they come in with. That means before they have come into the incarnations, they have really chosen what they're going to do in their lifetimes. Certain aspects for sure is being chosen and scripted, I would use the word, and some of it works with free will. So you have a bit of both going on over here. So when souls really come here, okay, they come through this whole space where they are learning, they are moving on. Some of them have got karmas where they have to physically utilize it and finish it off or work through, in this lifetime. And some of them you have moved out of that karmic planes and you've gone beyond. So I'm not talking about the sages, the yogis, or even higher, people with higher consciousness, okay, and would never come out in open saying that what I do or what I know. Now, the access towards these planes where these mystery schools are available became more as in between dimensions. That means they definitely exist. Now, when I talk about these mystery schools, you would learn and understand that in Hindus, the practice more was going to the Gurukul, where there will be a rishi, or where there will be a saint who would be sitting there and he would be preaching all the little kids, or even adults. And similarly, you would also know how the monks, there will be a great monk who will be a teacher teaching the disciples. Moving on, you'll have the similar thing where you would see, other like, Isis was the one who received her training. I use the word training because she was being trained. She was being trained to, do telekinesis. She was being trained to do healings, which was bringing the death from back to life. And then also when you hear about Jesus, there was a time that he kind of went, and they always say that he may have gone into India, or he had also traveled to Egypt at some point, where there was a lot of learning that was being done at that time. Now, these were the mystery schools that I'm talking about, and it was actually given like this higher plane information that was basically an aspect of downloads that has been done. Things like chanting, learning how to go deeper into deep consciousness and forgetting the body, not learning, or rather, kind of moving out from that space of conditioning. And then finally, learning that you're just doing this for the sake of doing it in the physical form, but this is not even real. Because in the mystery schools, all of this knowledge was being given, and a lot more. So as we say that, was Egypt being built by human beings? Well, I will leave it up to you to think about it, whether that was in the form of telekinesis through sound frequencies or what. Even Tesla at a point have mentioned that he would travel in his dream states to Egypt, to the areas in order to receive information. So there was a lot that was there, and people did not even get into a phase where they knew that they have to hold this knowledge in. As we say, it is aspect of forbidden space. No wonder people came up with amazing stories like Harry Potter and the Hogwarts. When it comes to mystery schools, it's not those kind of mystery schools that I'm talking about where you will see it on internet where people are talking, oh, you require this, you require that. Physical mystery schools, I'm not really even talking about those ones. Honestly, I'm not even sure what they really teach in there, because honestly, these days everything is all about money. And even if people are preaching and giving information, they still will give you access towards how to go deeper into your meditations and receive. So has it been like you have woken up from your sleep and you had an answer of something that you didn't have before? Or if you have been meditating, you receive guidance through your meditation. What is the soul really doing at this time? And is that we are getting that information from our guides, or sometimes do we travel into these mystery schools? Now, just to give you an understanding, that when there was this whole thing of taking this knowledge away, where a massacre of things happened at one point, where knowledge was being taken away, burnt, all sorts of things. And when this was happening, they had to create some sort of guardedness. Now, going back to guarding information, Sphinx, is the guardian of the knowledge that they hold within. So we could see that very much in here, but then the reality is that we could see similar kind of gatekeepers that will be there in spaces where there is knowledge shared or information being shared. Similarly, you would see, in temples, especially when it's a Shiva temple, you would see a Nandi, a bull that is sitting outside. You'll also see that, similarly, there is various of different types. I think griffins are one when it comes to Greece and Greek gods. And there's plenty of this kind of. In China, we would see, the dragons, so there was always something that would be there to protect the knowledge. That means in higher space, there was so much that was going on where they knew that they had to keep and hold the knowledge for only those who are meant to receive this knowledge. That means it all goes back to your blueprint of what you have decided and how you have you can get into. So finally, when people are ready, it's when the aspect of the stage opens up where mystery school can be activated, or rather the soul has activation towards going towards these mystery schools. And yes, there's permissions that is required when you do this. So I'm going to give you a bit of my remote viewed information regarding mystery schools. So we were doing some sort of work. There was a project to do with Egypt, and we've done like various different projects in Egypt, and we've remote viewed quite a lot of things. And we just stumbled upon the whole thing of mystery school in Egypt when we were kind of going into the underground of the pyramids, and we found out that this area was used by various different beings in order to educate or give teachings to Isis and her team. So it was just not Isis, there were loads of other priestesses who would learn. And to be honest, there was this feminine energy was very, very strong in giving that information with creation and creativity. And when it came to healing and all sorts of kind of these information that was being shared by these higher beings. Who were these higher beings? Were the Sirians, coming from the Sirius star, the constellation Pleiades. That was, the seven sisters, as you would know. They were the ones who would, come down and would share this knowledge. So this was an amazing way to see it. Similarly, if you see, going back to Gautam Buddha, before he turned Buddha, okay, so he was still Prince Siddhartha, who had kind of renounced that, he is going to leave everything and move into that space of becoming a monk, and just going into, basically just starving himself in order to understand like how enlightenment can be received. At that time, people just knew that doing worse things to the body and just leaving the body would be the best way to attain enlightenment. But the reality is, when he actually sat down next to the Bodh tree and he went into that deep state of meditation, he received knowledge that, you have to really look after your body, and without your body, you are really nothing to create awareness into the physical form. And then obviously when he came back, he was enlightened, and he obviously shared this knowledge to the rest of his disciples. Now, where did he really go? What really he received? Try and understand that there was aspect of this knowledge that he gained when he went into those deeper states. That means in deep meditations, definitely there is access, full access towards these areas. Again, you have to learn to go into deep meditations. And I would really still ask you that if you haven't really gone onto my channel, my meditation channel, please go into those meditation channels, because it's known as Tranquility with Nikki. And there is various different forms of meditations that will help you completely let go of your ego and go beyond states. Now, coming back to our story with mystery schools. Similarly, there was same ways when it came to accessing this knowledge in the Hindus, because people were killing each other or burning this knowledge, taking away this knowledge, because only few people wanted this knowledge for themselves. The act of basically initiating people into having gurus, and gurus would actually go ahead and initiate others from these, this private knowledge that is required, so that it's not being used in and or goes into wrong hands. The whole aspect of initiation really started from there, and the gurus would be having this knowledge beforehand, and they will tap into the person's consciousness, the student's consciousness, that if they are ready to receive this knowledge or not. And this is how the physical plane we would receive information, but when it comes to the non-physical plane, into the space of mystery schools, there are realms that you can receive this particular knowledge. And yes, the soul really goes and gets information. Most of it comes around in dream times, especially for those people who are karmically very heavy, and the body has come here to really work on the physical plane. And that is the reason a lot of knowledge is not really understood in the physical plane. But when it comes to the soul work, the soul is still going when the body is sleeping, and going and learning things as well in this way. Do we all have access? At some point in time, we all get some sort of access towards the mystery schools. So yes, you will see suddenly in some ways, you'll be pushed more deeply into spirituality at some point in life, or you will be given choice that you can go there or not, because this is something that works with free will. And unless you have not unblocked yourself away from that space, you will be able to access this through your free will. So finally, as if I have to kind of sum it all up and just give a bit of a brief or summarize this completely, I can just say that, mystery schools do still exist. Been part of mystery schools in ways that, again, moving into those space in order to receive information. Again, I do feel like the blueprint of your soul is very important. From where your soul, what is your purpose of life? Okay, why are you here? Okay, and what you want to get more from this lifetime is also a major thing of why certain people would travel to it and some people won't. Now, giving that understanding, I know that a lot of you who's watching this particular video may be part of these mystery schools and you may not fully know or be aware of. And I think the knowledge just kind of sinks in. And when we use the word download of information, it's really that kind of information. So the type of dimension that we are in at the moment and the knowledge that we receive, it's very hard for this dimensional state being to understand it. Hence, when we receive these downloads of information, it comes from those mystery schools, and you would also associate yourself with a particular master. Okay, your masters could be your guides, okay, and sometimes actually they could be much more beyond than that. When I talk about higher beings, they are the higher beings that I'm talking about. Ascended masters definitely could be one of them as well. But we receive our information. Do we actually sit down and take schooling? Well, I remember very clearly in one of my meditative states where I was being shown a book and I was being told to read. And I was being told, so there were two beings on the sides of me, and they were telling me what to say, because the language what was written on that particular book, and then it was not even a book, it was more like a tablet. So when you talk about tablet, we bring the information of thought, isn't it? The emerald tablet. So there was this things were being written. And it was almost like they were telling me what it is written and what it really means. And you have to keep saying it again and again to build that frequency inside you and become that frequency. So that was really interesting when I was going through that phase of mine. And I felt like when I woke up, there was definitely repetition of those words, and I would do that quite a lot. Actually, I would do that like most of the things that I will bring back into my conscious states, because at times it would make no sense, because being human, you would just think like, I don't know what that was all about. But I know that a lot of you are practicing things that you have received beyond. Sometimes the initiation really doesn't happen in the human form over here. The initiation is happening through the soul forms on other dimensions that we travel in our dream states or in our meditation states. So it is very, very important for us to understand that, dream states will be forgotten unless you're learning to remember dreams or doing astral traveling through dream states. But then there is more to add in, is that when we are meditating, and we are meditating in a way where we are learning to remember things, or rather go beyond states, you'll be able to understand that this comes into a form where you receive information. And sometimes we also flick ourselves, move into these mystery schools and receive information as well. A lot of you will gain a knowledge in your experiences, but a lot of you, that non-physical states that you are in, you will have that non-physical message or learning or teachings that will be given, that is required for the soul as well. So mystery schools, do they really exist? Absolutely they do. Definitely they do. Okay, are they very much in this earth form? Yes, they are in the earth form, but you have to have access towards moving to those areas. It's exactly when I spoke to you all about the Shambhala in my Shambhala video, that it is also another form of a mystery school, where the access is only given to the higher yogis or people with who are open towards throwing the egos away, and there is nothing materialistic information that is in. So it comes from there as well. So guys, I hope you have got some aspect or some understanding about, these mystery schools. Do they really exist? Yes, they do. Jesus had gone through his mystery schools and received his knowledge from there. Gautam Buddha had been through his mystery school and he had gone and received his information from there. Isis had been through her mystery school and received information from there. And they were just higher beings giving these information, this amazing space of multidimensional states, knowledge, the cosmic knowledge that was being shared. And and I do feel like it is still happening, because there is thinning of the veil happening at the moment, because we are in that transformational state, and a lot of us actually are tapping into these states. So no wonder I wanted to create this video for all of you. And I would like all of you to just do this one thing, and hopefully this will help you all learn to get into meditative states before going to bed, and ask that I would like to go into a mystery school with higher light energy, as working with love and positiveness, and I would receive some information from there, and may I remember that when I wake up. Try and do this for at least 30 days, okay? Or maximum, I would say 41 days. Every day, okay? And then let me know, what did you get through? I can tell you only one thing: you will have an experience of your own, for sure. Okay, so right guys, thank you once again for hearing me out, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. And as I said, I am going to create more videos like this, and something that we don't hear much about in the normal ways and senses. It's nothing much given. And I feel like this is very required at this point in time, because especially 2025 is going to be one of those years that is going to be quite much deep into spiritual states and transformation. So having this knowledge is very, very important, and how much also that I know, I feel like I should be able to share it out and just have an open conversation with all of you. So thank you once again. Hopefully I'll get to see you once again in a next video, and do let me know what else you would like to know, something that maybe have popped into your mind and you feel like this was something that she should have shared. Put it on onto your comments. It will be really nice for me to read it out and give me more ideas, something that may have missed off. Say if you had the knowledge about mystery schools, share it. And the other part is that do let me know which part did you enjoy the most, and which part you felt like, oh okay, this is different. I would love to hear from you. So thank you once again, each and every one of you, and thank you if you've come all the way to the end of the video. I send you my gratitude for helping and supporting me to grow this channel as well. Thank you once again. Sending you love. Bye bye.